Greetings, blade aficionados, blade fans, blade lovers everywhere. OG Blade Reviews back with you once again. That's me. And got something new that was sent to me by Kansept for review. And I'm going to give you an honest review on it, although that the knife was provided to me for evaluation free of charge. And I thank Kansept. It's a new one on the block. And the designer is a fellow by the name of Rolf Helbig, Helbig. It's a 3¼ inch folding knife that is called the BTF. And typical Kansept slide open tray style, nice rigid solid box should you want to store it in that. And a flapped holster of sorts, call it a cocoon, whatever. Back in the day, when I was buying Benchmade knives back in the 80s and working directly with Les Diasis from Benchmade, as a matter of fact, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, but I was getting the original balisongs made for me, milled out of a solid block of stainless steel. And don't know what made me bring that up, but there we are, off on a tangent, first thing in the morning. This one is called the Kansept, what did I say? BTF. I was going to say big. BTF, what does it stand for? Basic Tanto Folder, I found out. Well, if you can't figure out a name, that is a good way to start. Tell us what it is, right? It's a big, it's not a big, it's a basic. I keep wanting to say big for B. Anyway, like BFG, I think, was what Kaiser did with one of its makers. Big effing something or other, big effing knife. So we've got the basic Tanto folder. I chose this variation, of which there are a few. What they did, obviously, we've got a stainless Damascus, and I'm understanding that most Chinese makers' stainless Damascus is a blend of two stainless steels, 5 CR and 10 CR, and it's the 10 CR that holds the edge. Everything else over that is layers of both 5 CR, I don't know if it's 15 MOV or 18 MOV, and I think the core is 10 CR, 18 MOV. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's ballpark. They did a really nice thing that I don't see too often on Kansept knives. They crowned the spine here. Beautiful job. Look at that. I'm really only usually seeing that on Italian knives and on many of the Bastinellis made in Italy. This hasn't been too positive for me, is the big thumb disc. It's big and it sticks out, but it's quite smooth where it's been blackened and coated. So when you use whatever Cerakote perhaps, or whatever they dip it in, I'm not sure what that thumb stud is made of. Can we tell? It must be like aluminum. I don't think it's titanium, but it is non-magnetic. And I know sometimes they simply coat them quick and, you know, dump them in a tank or what have you. But anyway, it's got the potential to be good. You just got to put a little more pressure on it than you would think, slightly more, and give it that kind of an action, kind of a 45-degree angled out. But let's talk about some other features here. Obviously, the Damascus blade with a beautiful pattern. I've got another example by Kansept to show you that uses a similar patterned Damascus stainless. We've got the Tanto going on here, and it is not a compound grind, or is it? Hard to tell when we've got a heavy pattern on the steel. Yeah, we've got a mild sort of transition here. It's flat ground. It's a fairly high grind. Hard to see the grinds on a knife with this much contrast in the steel. Nice tip. Gets a little bit finer. Got a lot of steel up here, a lot of full thickness. I think it's about a 3 millimeter, but we're going to measure it. And we've got, the reason I picked this, besides the Damascus, I think they went well together. I could have gotten this in maybe an S35, I'm not sure, for maybe better edge holding, but for sheer looks, we've got a neat thing going on with a bamboo pattern here that gives you a nice grip. It's a micarta. I would call it a brown micarta. And there you can see those ribs. Not the first knife I've handled where bamboo is attempted to be emulated. I think this worked out well. You know, it's not distracting. It gives you some extra finger wells there, if you want to talk about it that way. No jimping, but you do have the platform. Very often when you have that large thumb disc, they eliminate the jimping. Sometimes, but not always. And I can lay my thumb out there and I've got a good inch left over in my hand. So it's a good size handle. And the blade, it's a liner lock, right? The blade fits in there pretty well. Got just a little bit of extra handle left over. It's not too bad. And we've got a pocket clip, which they point out to me is angled so that when it's in the pocket, it aligns it forward. Let's see if I can try this in my own pocket. Can't get the pocket on camera, sorry. But yeah, what it tends to do is push the knife towards the back of your pocket. That's what that angled clip does. And unfortunately, because maybe they didn't want to give you an extra clip, it is angled and used for tip up only on the right side of the knife. So you lefties can't carry it in the left pocket, unless you wanted to carry it backwards, of course. We're going to get some measurements on it and then talk about some other features. Overall length of this guy is 7.5 inches. And the blade is 3 1/4. Pretty simple. And handle thickness, we're going to get it at the highest point of that rib is 0.58. But if you go in a little bit, you get 0.53. We'll call it 0.58 at the widest point. And if we were to get the blade best right there, 0.12. And in millimeters, 3 millimeters, as they said. How about we try to get a weight on it here? And we've got 3.46, we'll call that. So I keep talking about this, but shouldn't make a huge difference to you. It is not an ounce per inch. It's a little bit heavier than that. And talking about the weight, at this point, what I normally do is take a look inside. And yeah, we've got plenty of weight relieving, some long slots in a hole, and even a hole there on the liner side, liner locking side. It is an exposed liner. It's been blackened to sort of maybe fit the thumb stud or to contrast. I'll make sure you've got a link out to Kansept to all of the varieties, and if I can find it at a US retailer, I will give you those links as well. When I saw that blade, I thought of one other knife by Kansept, a real beauty, a little higher end than this. By the way, about 98 bucks, I think, on this one is the suggested retail price. You're going to see it discounted when it comes to your retailers, and you're going to get an extra 10% off if you shop at White Mountain using my discount code OG-Blade. There is the Kratos, or Kratos, however you want to pronounce it, a design by Ostap Hell that uses a similar but actually fancier. You can see how that varies there in pattern. A Damascus steel blade, stainless blade. And it's a longer blade. And it's possibly a little thicker. And we've got this black carbon fiber rose patterned handle inserts here on this one. And it is a frame lock. So yeah, you're talking more bucks with this one, possibly double the price of this one. You can look it up or look for my review. Size-wise, here's how it compares next to the YOLO, you only live once. A Ironfly, I keep forgetting the name of that company, Ironfly design, and about a ½ inch longer overall, with about the same length blade, and it's a button lock. That's my daily carry today. It's been working out quite well. Basically a big utility knife. And the usual compare. There is the Ontario Rat 1. And obviously the Rat 1 is a good deal longer, almost 2 inches. We've got a blade about 3/4 of an inch longer-ish, which would be about right. Another look around. Deep carry, not transferable, nice flat spine, radius, and nice drop shut action on that blade on bearings. We've got some bearings going on there. Again, the only shortcoming I find, well, you guys that are going to like a guard and aren't fully gripping your knife and you're worried about sliding forward, you won't like this. Although if you pay attention to James Williams, you put the pommel, if you're going to thrust with it, put the pommel there in your palm and thrust with it. And he's driven his knives through like steel car doors and hoods and all kinds of stuff, so long as he backs up the blade that way. He tends to think guards get in the way, and that's certainly one take on the situation. Other people like a pronounced guard, so they're not going to slip forward. Really up to you and how you use the knife. Could this be a tactical sort of an implement? Yes, absolutely. We don't have the point in line with the center axis of the handle, but it's a straight line forward. And should be still a good cutter too. Not sure I've got any paper, or maybe I do. Let's see. Yeah, we got paper. What kind of a factory edge did they give us? Okay. It's in the technique. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Not the sharpest factory edge, but definitely workable. And you strop that up just a little bit, and you will definitely improve that as you would with most knives out of the box. You want to go as far as putting it on a ceramic, you can do that. Or alter the edge. If you're good at sharpening, go ahead and put your own edge on it. Just beware. You've got a pretty dramatic change here between this almost straight edge and this edge here. Got a nice plunge grind going down there. We've got a fair amount of material you can remove over time to sharpen it. I'm not sure how heavily you want to be sharpening it, but it really depends upon how much you're using it and what you're cutting. And who is it now? Laren Thomas, the doctor of metallurgy, stated recently on a Work Sharp, I think it was shared by Work Sharp, but it was part of another video, that the most important thing about a knife is always the geometry of the edge and the sharpening bevel that you put on there. If all of that is in place, he says it almost doesn't matter what steel it is, and you may not agree with that, but it's the same guy that invented Magna Cut steel that can be hardened up to HRC 64 or 65, but that's just mentioning it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a like if you would, and subscribe to OG Blade Reviews. Be well.